Let's talk about tricking yourself into success through taking baby steps. Oftentimes when we see a big project ahead of us, when we see something huge that we need to do or that we're about to go and try to accomplish, it becomes very, very difficult and overwhelming. In fact, it is extremely easy to get overwhelmed by a lot to do, by a big vision, by a big dream. And it's easy to self-sabotage, to destroy your own success by simply not even setting the sail. By not even moving forward, we avoid our overwhelm, we avoid all the things that might happen in the future, all the difficulties and all the challenges. But ultimately, it's just another form of procrastination. Our brains tend to play tricks on us, and that doesn't really mean that it's because it's negative and that you've been badly conditioned, but more so because our brain wants things to be as easy as possible and get as much reward as possible. And so when you try to go for something that is really huge and something that might overwhelm you, your mind will immediately almost disconnect. At least that is the case for most people. And if you've ever experienced that, if you ever tried to do something and you got thrown off by yourself starting to think some kind of thoughts that just kind of took you off the path and led you away from doing it, well then you know what that feels like, and you know how your brain can really take you away from ultimately maybe what your goals and dreams are. Simply because it is overwhelming, simply because it seems like such a big deal. Before starting out trying to build a business or doing something that you love, trying to follow your passion, your dream, right? It's really, really easy to get off track through listening to the thoughts in your mind and just kind of going with it and thinking, yes, that's very reasonable. And in fact, it is reasonable. But if you want to have unreasonable results, you gotta become almost an unreasonable person. You definitely have to be unreasonable in your mind, and you can't allow these thoughts that say, oh, that's too much, allow you to stop. The trick is to trick your brain. The trick is to take one baby step at a time. And it's a very simple way of getting to a goal. It's just as easy as consistently driving through and doing what you need to do. But all that you might need to get started is to trick yourself into doing it. Because it's very hard to move forward when you're feeling that cold air, you're feeling that cold water, you have amazing amounts of resistance just holding you back from diving in. And so you almost have to trick your brain into just being in on it. You have to trick yourself to get in on it. You can't just dive right in. Although some people do, the easiest way is to take one little baby step at a time. If I was to try to run a full-time business doing what I love in the very beginning, that would have been impossible for me, way too overwhelming. But one step at a time, one little baby step at a time, it was completely possible and doable. And it doesn't even take that long. Over the course of a year, I got to the point where I could never even dream of being, and it was amazing. And you can do the same thing, whatever passion or purpose that you have. Just one baby step is enough to get you started and get that momentum rolling. Because the thing is, once you go there, you never want to go back. And the same thing goes for if you're stuck at some plateau. It's just about taking one little step forward, tricking yourself into getting a little bit more uncomfortable. And sometimes when you've sunk deep into a comfort zone, it's really hard to do this, but you have to. It's essential, it's crucial, it's vital. Otherwise, you will kill your own growth, and you will kill your own dreams. That's really you being a dream killer for yourself. If you don't push yourself, if you don't trick yourself, if you don't avoid your brain's excuses, your brain's reasons for why you can't do it and how you just, it's not possible for you, then it's going to be impossible for you to really make progress. But if you can just trick yourself into taking one little baby step, anything becomes possible because you get that momentum rolling, and before you know it, you can reach heights that you never imagined.